Hey guys, Saki here from Saki Tech, and in today's video I want to talk about the iPhone X versus the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. And just so you know, this is not a full in-depth comparison that I usually do. This is just an overview style comparison between these two phones. Now some of you guys may not be familiar with the Mi Mix 2, but it's a very popular phone manufactured in China by Xiaomi. Okay, so it's the Mi Mix 2. It's popular in China and some of the Asian markets, but it's not as popular here in the United States. However, when Xiaomi built this phone, they built it to cater to the US audience. It's a high-end phone. It competes directly with the current flagships like the S8 Plus, the LG V30, the Note 8. It's got all the maximum specifications such as Snapdragon 835, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes to 256 gigabytes of storage, and of course a high-class premium build. So that's basically why I'm comparing this to the iPhone 10, so that you guys are aware of the options out there on the market. Now the first thing I want to talk about is the screen. Now when it comes to the quality of the screen, the iPhone's screen quality is superior. What happened was DisplayMate.com just did a review on the iPhone's screen, and they concluded that it's one of the best displays on the market. You know, it is an OLED display and it's got a high resolution. What I'll do, I'm not going to talk about specs too much here. I'm going to leave links in the description box below. So if you want to look at the specs, just click the links and go take a look at the specs and do a comparison. What I want to talk about is right now is the frontal design. So if you take a look at these phones, they're both full screen phones, and they both have very thin bezels, but there's slight differences. So with the iPhone, you have bezels on three sides. They're very thin, giving you an impression that you're looking at a complete frontal display. But then you have a notch on the top that houses the front camera and the Face ID scanner. Now with the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, what you have is you have very thin bezels on the side, very nice looking frontal display, but at the bottom you have a thicker bezel. So where's the front camera on this guy? It's right here at the bottom on the corner. So on the right bottom you have the front facing camera. So that's the difference. On this one you have a notch on the top and the camera on the top. On this one you have a thicker bezel on the top, on the bottom, with a camera on the side. And I want you to let me know which one you would prefer and why. And I'll let you know why I would prefer this one over that one. And it's a very practical reason. It's not because I hate the notch on the top. I don't have a problem with that. I like this better because overall it looks slightly cleaner. But additionally, I do not use the front camera that much. Rarely use it. So I don't even need this guy to be on the top. Now the reason I'm talking about that is because by having this at the bottom, you don't get the full frontal camera experience. What this phone allows you to do when you pull up the front camera, it wants you to rotate the phone to take a selfie. So if I tap the camera right now, let me just click allow, and if I switch it over, let me click OK. As you can see, it says rotate your phone to take a proper selfie. And once you rotate the phone, this camera is going to be on the top just like this one, and then you can take a regular shot. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is because I don't take selfies, I prefer this design better. It just looks cleaner overall. This one looks a little bit less cleaner with a little notch on the top, but it does house some amazing technology right here, including the Face ID. So that's the front side. Let me take a look at the back side. The funny thing is, when you look at the back side of these phones, I actually like the Xiaomi Mi Mix better also. And I'll tell you why. So with the iPhone, you have a glass backing. So it's a very tough and very high quality glass. When you hold this phone in your hands, it feels 100% premium. And of course, when you look at the camera, it's a dual camera setup. You have a regular camera, you have a telephoto camera, and you have a LED flashlight. It's a vertical orientation. When you look at this guy here, you have one camera, you have a fingerprint sensor, and you have a dual LED flashlight. Now this ring around the camera, that golden ring, is actually gold plated. I forgot the carats. I think it's 18 carats. It's a gold plated ring. It just gives it a nice, sweet style. And of course, the one thing I do like is if you're going to have a fingerprint on the back of a phone, it's best to have it under the camera, centered on the screen. Okay, that's the perfect place for my finger to fall when I grab my phone. Now this guy does not have a fingerprint sensor. It has a Face ID, which works perfectly, to be honest. I've been using it for a while. It works perfectly, but a fingerprint sensor is also a really nice option to have. And this one also is very quick and works very perfectly, all right? But again, from a design perspective, I really like the back of the phone better. And just so you know, the back here is not built out of glass. It feels like it's glass, but this is ceramic, which gives it a different air about it. So it's ceramic back, you have glass back. They're both premium. This one just feels and looks better to me. The other thing is, if you look at the sides of the phones, they have a metal band around the edges. This one also has a metal band around the edges, and then you have glass on the front. Now with the Mi Mix 2, there's a special edition which is all ceramic uni body. So you have a ceramic here and you have ceramic on the side, then it curves around and connects with the frontal display. But everything is ceramic. Now that thing is $950. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. So that's $950. So that's pretty close to the iPhone. The iPhone is all, $1,000, so that's $50 less, but it does have more storage at 256 gigabytes. I'll drop links down below so you can go check that one out as well and take a look at the specs. But again, we talked about the front, now that's the back, and I told you guys that I prefer the back of this phone more than the iPhone. Now let's go back to the front and take a look at the software. And most of you guys know what that means, but let's just take a look at it anyway. And just one more thing about the cameras on the back. The Mi Mix has a 12 megapixel camera with an aperture of f2.0, and this one, as you know, has dual cameras. And the primary camera on this phone is better than the primary camera on that phone. So already we have two things on the iPhone that are better than on this guy, and that's the camera and the display quality. But as I said, I prefer the design of the Mi Mix better than the design on the iPhone. The next thing I want to talk about is the software. So basically, iPhone, you know how it works. It's a static grid of app icons on a screen, which you can do. The only thing you can do to customize your phone is to change the wallpaper. So if I go to the settings, I can tap on the wallpaper and I can just pick one of these live or still wallpapers. And then one more thing you can do if you go to the side is you have this side screen where you can add some widgets. So you've got the appointments, news. You can go all the way down, tap on edit, and you can just add and remove widgets. But you can only have it right here. You cannot have them right here or here. This is what this is going to look like. Every iPhone looks the same. Now with this guy, it's much more deeper than that. So if you pinch the screen, you get a quick menu. Let me pinch the screen. You have themes, widgets, wallpapers, and effects. I like the effects. Basically, when you scroll between home screens, you can choose a different effect. So that's the tumble effect that I really like. Okay. So that's another scrolling effect, as you can see. Okay. So it's nice to have these cool scrolling effects. Now let me go back here. And the other thing you have, obviously you have wallpapers and widgets, that's obvious. But you also get access to themes. If you tap on themes, I can pick different themes for my phone. So I can tap this High Life theme. And as you can see, that's going to be the lock screen. That's going to be the home screen. But I can always go back to the store and I can get more themes for free. A lot of themes, okay? There's basically no limit to how many themes you can get. So as you can see, Android is more customizable and you have some of the scrolling effects that I really like. So the conclusion here is that the Android phones are much more customizable and personalizable if that's something you're into. And a lot of people do love that stuff. But there's one thing you're going to lose if you go with that Android system. You will lose that superior app ecosystem on the iPhone. Now when you go to the App Store, the quality of the games you get on the iPhone is simply better than the games you get on the Play Store. Now there's a lot of cross-platform games out there, and that's great. But there's also a lot of iPhone exclusive games that have superior graphics and they play at a maximum smooth frame rate. So it never stutters, it never lags, you get the best experience. The same can be said about the apps. Now, nobody's saying that the App Store has more apps than the Play Store. They have probably the same amount of apps, maybe Play Store has even more. But the quality of the apps on the App Store is better than the quality of the apps on the Play Store overall. There's a lot of apps that look and behave the same on both phones, but there's a lot of special apps on the App Store that are simply superior. Productivity apps, business apps, lifestyle apps, training apps, fitness apps that are simply higher quality than the Android system. But again, that's it. That's the sacrifice you have to make. If you go with this one, you give up on that superior app ecosystem. If you go with this one, you give up on that superior customization properties. I mean, you can even have widgets like a calculator on the screen if you so desire. Okay, so 96 plus 6, boom. You can do it right there without having to launch an app. But yeah, that was a quick comparison, a quick overview of both of these phones. I just want to bring to your attention that there is a phone out there. A lot of people know about this, but some people don't. It's the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. It's a phone that belongs into the high-end segment, competes directly with all the other phones, such as the LG V30, Note 8, S8 Plus. It's got a ceramic build. It feels like $1 million in your hands. And this base model is $600. Okay, so this one has 6 gigabytes of RAM. It's got 64 gigabytes of storage, and it's approximately $600. That's a lot less than the iPhone 10 over here. But if you want to get that special edition, which is a unibody ceramic build, then it's close to $1,000. But you do get 8 gigs and you get 256 gigabytes of storage, and all the other specs are up to date. Like I said, if you want to see the specs, check the links in the description box below. And let me just go to the settings really quick just to show you around a little bit in comparison to other Android phones. Very similar look, but there's a lot of customization in here. So, you have display, wallpapers, themes, sound and vibration. You can go to the lock screen and password and you have all these nice options. Okay, so wake lock screen for notifications. So anytime you get notification, the screen lights up. Go back out. If you go to the notifications and status bar, you can make a lot of modifications here. Okay, for example, you can show the carrier name, show the connection speed, show notification icons on the status bar top here. So there's a lot going on in this phone, and just so you get an idea of what it looks like here. All right, let's go back out, and that brings us to the end of the video. Make sure you let me know which phone you would prefer and why. Especially, I want to know what design you would prefer on the front and the back. So let me know about how much the notch bothers you, or would you prefer this extra thick bezel with a front-facing camera here, especially if you're not a front-facing camera user. And also let me know what you thought about the back of the devices. Like I said, I preferred this design more than this design, even though this is premium, they both look great, but subjectively speaking, I just prefer this one over that one design-wise. So drop your comments, thoughts, and concerns, and also questions down below. And make sure you check the links in the description box below. And make sure to subscribe to Saki Tech for more videos and give this video a thumbs up. Also, if you do use Twitter and Instagram, make sure to follow me on both @Saki Tech Online. Guys, have a fantastic day.